What's up, everybody? It's Joe from JLW Games coming at you with another cool video back in Planet Coaster in Arrow Valley, of course. And today we are going to get back into this episode, which will be just kind of filling in some more spots. We fill in these little empty spots of grass, which we turn into kind of some nice little, whatever you want to call them. I don't know what you call these. Like, they're just little plots of grass where we place some flowers and some plants and some trees to make it look pretty and stuff like that, whatever you want to call it. But it ends up turning out looking very, very nice. And then as for the roller coaster, as the wing coaster, we take another stab at it. I get some progress done, and then yeah, we run into some more errors again. So I'm having a very difficult time trying to get what I want out of this ride. So it's kind of been it's been kind of back and forth of what I'm trying to do. I've been having some design flaws with the coaster itself. So that's kind of been a bump in the road at the moment, but we do get some buildings done and some other stuff done with that. And then of course I end up wasting a lot of time trying to design the coaster, and I think I may have a nice centerpiece idea for the end of the main road, the midway area where all the shops are going to be, and at the end there is a centerpiece. I think I got excuse me, the idea of what I want to do there, but we're just going to have to kind of wait and see just a little bit and see if that is what I want to do. And I'm sorry, these last couple episodes have been a lot of trial and error, and actually not a whole lot has been getting done. That is kind of my fault a little bit. I went into this episode thinking I was going to get a ton done. You know, I was going to get the roller coaster design and, you know, the centerpiece going and everything like that, and then it just kind of fell apart in the end because I had to completely redesign the entire ride because it just didn't flow realistically. In fact, the ride just was running too quick, so it had too much speed, which is something that I don't usually have any issues with, but this time I had too much speed, and I think I can make a similar design that I was doing. I just need to make the elements just a little bit taller to make sure that they're not getting too much speed, and that was one of the main issues that I ran into with this episode, was that just when I designed the coaster and made some designs it was just flowing through it a little bit too fast, and that was kind of my fault. And maybe either I can make this coaster, maybe I can make the lift a little bit shorter, or I can actually make it a longer ride, which will probably be the more likely deal, because I want to make sure that there's that awesome coaster that's record-breaking. You know, I'm thinking that this is going to be a record-breaking wing coaster. So far, it is the tallest wing coaster because it is taller than Gatekeeper. It's at 189 feet tall, which is huge, and it's going to also break the record for the tallest inversion, which is also held by Gatekeeper, because it's going to have the same inversion at the top. And this is going to get something that's going to get people to come out, because we want those record-breaking rides that are going to make people go, wow, that's awesome, I want to go to that park. So again, we're not going to have, you know, like Cedar Point Land have like 16 to 18 roller coasters, but we're going to have at least probably, I'm shooting around 6 coasters. So what we're doing here is we're working a little bit on some buildings. These are going to some interesting buildings. They didn't really have any inspiration for these buildings, and you know, I didn't want to make them too square, so I'm making some back areas that way they're not completely square, but they're going to rotate all the way around to this pathway, which will look really nice and just make it look, you know, awesome. Most of these are going to be facades, and you're not going to be able to actually enter these. I mean, I could have put some shops in. Some of them will have some shops in them, but these two particularly are just going to be there for show, just as a place filler. And I wanted to make them look kind of unique in a way, and they look kind of cool. I don't know what kind of style you would call it. Again, this is more of a modern, theme to the park itself. It's got more of a modernish kind of theme to it. So as we go along, I want to build more buildings in these areas and just try and make sure that they are looking good. So I want to put I'm putting in some lighting as well. That way the buildings are well lit at night, because we're going to have obviously some nighttime spots for these parks and everything. So that's really cool. So as for the POV footage for Westwood, a lot of people have been waiting for that. They've been asking about it, and it is in the editing process right now. I'm actually finishing it up pretty soon, hopefully. I still got to add some audio, and I still have to add a couple of logos that actually still need to be made as well for some certain things. So it's turning out really good. Trust me on that. So I can't wait. I got actually all the clips pieced together already. So the hardest part is out of the way, which was recording and actually getting the frame rate, getting a decent frame rate out of these things, because each POV took some time to render, and it was insane. So I'm learning a little bit as I go along of how to make these POVs and make some awesome cinematic shots. So just bear with me just a little bit, and I will get that out to you guys as soon as I can. I know I said last week it would probably be about a week, but I still am waiting on those logos, and the logos will just make it that more believable and magical and everything. So hold on there for me, and we'll get that video out just as soon as possible. I'm going to try and work on the audio aspects of it today, and then later on get those logos in, and then it will be ready to go. So those POVs are going to be coming very, very soon. And I will say I didn't get POVs of every ride, just some of the main ones. So all obviously the three major coasters, because I don't want the video to drag out I don't want it to drag on too long, and then we can get some POVs of some of the other rides later on. So those will be there, but just not in the cinematic video. The cinematic video is just for cinematic purposes, to kind of promote the park just a little bit, and it's going to be really, really cool. And I'll also place that video in the Steam Workshop when it is complete. That way, in the Steam Workshop, it's awesome. So yeah, make sure you're constantly updating those files from the Steam Workshop as well if you do own Westwood, because those are gonna be updated. And there's actually something I've already updated it once with some interesting developments happening in Westwood over by Rattlesnake Falls. So there's actually something going on over there if you haven't noticed already. And there might be a Tony McCoaster video on that here soon as well. It'll be fun to do just for fun. And yeah, this is going to be kind of like a cool little plaza street that's going to have some buildings off to the side. It's going to be a nice little place just to kind of relax and chill out on the benches, and it's going to be kind of cool. So we're going to place those all throughout the park, and it's actually going to flow really, really nicely. Now, this is when we get into designing the coaster here, and I think I finally got the winged over drop kind of in the way that I want it. So it needs a little bit more tuning up, but it does turn out to be pretty good, and it actually flows through it pretty decently. So the winged over drop is something that I've been trying to practice for a while to try and get right. So I'm always open for tips and tricks on how to get some of these custom objects done and everything like that, and make it flow and smooth as possible. As smooth as it possibly can. So, with wing coasters, you gotta have a lot of near-miss elements, and that's something I kind of wanted to add. So I do make this tower with a 0G roll, but I just wasn't feeling the design of the tower, and it ends up getting demolished as well, which you'll see later on. But yeah, it was just I think the tower just was too tall for what it was, and it just didn't get that look that I wanted, and just the placement of it was kind of off as well, which you'll be seeing all this, and all this work ends up being for nothing. And I hate doing that, and I hate having that to happen, but it just happened. So there's not really much I can do about that, and I'm hopefully finally going to get back on track by next episode, and I apologize for some of these messy episodes where, you know, not much gets done, and, you know, and it's still a good thing. I still consider it a good thing. I'm learning from my experiences here of what I should be doing and what I shouldn't be doing. So, in other words, you know, I want this coaster to look good, and I want the park to look good, and to do that, I got to make sure that everything turns out good. So it's just a difficult task to come up with when you're not satisfied with something and you want to, if I'm not satisfied with something, I delete it, I get rid of it. And it just so happens these last couple episodes I've been doing that a lot. So I'll finally settle on something hopefully here pretty soon on this coaster, because this is like the second failed attempt at making this coaster believable in the way that I want to make it. So it's been kind of a difficult task, but I was liking the layout when I was building it, so I might make something similar. It's just going to be a little bit different. So, but the layout was looking good. I think the way that was going through all the inversions, I think I had some really good inversions. I had some good elements to the ride, and the way it looked really good. But it just didn't flow well enough, and I messed up pretty much on the whole thing. So, so this tower, you can disregard this tower because it ends up being demolished in the end, and yeah, I like the station. The station turned out good. I am very proud of that. So there's just some stuff that needs to be worked on, and we'll get around to it and make everything's gonna look fantastic and okay in the end. So thank you guys for your patience on this. I was just trying to create a near miss element here right off the bat with this huge wooden kind of worn down tower. So that's kind of what the theming goes with it. It's kind of like a flight of an eagle, and that's kind of the theme that goes with it. Again, not a whole lot of huge themes throughout this park. There's not going to be some big theming. It's just going to be mainly, you know, the rides themselves. I just wanted to create some cool stuff with this, with these rides to make them, you know, really fun thrill rides. And, you know, there's always near miss elements with wing coasters, so I wanted to make sure that we had those. And the supports weren't working with me as well either, so that was kind of another difficult task. You know, I would have to make some custom supports possibly, since they didn't really want to work out very well. So this tower, you know, I was looking at it and I was going to create a new texture kind of with some of like the wooden planks and stuff to try and make it look a little bit different and more believable and kind of a nice little design. So this tower, you know, just didn't become what it was, and I think I'm going to make more near-miss elements on elements that are closer to the ground. This was just a little bit too tall, I think, and it just kind of lost what it was supposed to be in a way, and it just kind of did not develop the way that I was hoping. So, and then the placement of it I didn't think was really great next to the station the way it was, and the kind of the rotation that it had kind of threw it off as well. I think if it was more parallel and symmetrical to the station, it would have probably worked a little bit better, but it didn't really work out the way I was hoping, and that just kind of sucked. So anyways, we get through this we'll get through this together, and I will make this ride happen, whether or not, hey, at least I got the winged over drop. That's all I care about. That's the main thing I care about, is I got the winged over drop completed, and that's going to help us out a ton. So I want to make sure this has a lot of inversions and just a very fun, thrilling ride, and I want to make sure it's like one of the longest wing coasters as well. I think that'll be a really neat addition as well if it's a very long wing coaster. So my goal with this wing coaster is it's gonna be this mega-breaking, record-breaking wing coaster that's gonna have the tallest inversion and longest coaster, and did I say fastest? I think I said fastest, but wing coaster in the world. So it's gonna break all of Gatekeeper's records, and that's gonna be kind of like the idea with this ride, is it's gonna be a record breaking, and this is kind of like the entrance that I'm gonna be building for the ride. So the entrance of the building is going to be up here on this platform. This platform still looks very dull and kind of boring. We're going to change that throughout time. And again, just baby steps, but we are going to get that all finished and looking good. So I'm thinking about adding like some gift shops on the sides as well, and kind of some nice little planters in the middle. So it kind of has like its own plaza area. So that's going to be something kind of hopefully neat that will look good for this section of the park. So it's going to have like its own area that'll be really cool. So it will hopefully turn out the way I have the vision for it. That's going to be the thing. And then I was like, okay, so now we got through the 0G roll, let's create an implement and make it go back the other way, because I still need to make that centerpiece for the entrance of the park, so I need to get it back going in that direction before it loses all its speed. But this thing had so much speed that I don't think it really mattered, because it flows through these elements, it just flies through these elements super fast, so it didn't really matter in the long run. So all this design again is for nothing, and I apologize again for all my failed efforts, but it didn't flow through this realistically, and that was kind of the main main part. It looked good. I thought the coaster itself looked good, but it didn't flow through the transitions, didn't flow or anything, and it was just too fast through the transitions. Through the elements were just a little bit too fast, and that kind of gave it a little bit of a issue there. So, and then I was like, maybe I can have, a very cool Ferris wheel centerpiece element. I thought that would be kind of a nice little idea. And then I got another idea of putting a vertical loop behind it with the wing coaster, and that would give it a nice little picturesque awesome moment where you have the loop going behind the Ferris wheel, and that would actually look very, very neat. It would actually look really cool and make Arrow Valley just have a nice pop to it, that centerpiece element. And it's not a very tall or large centerpiece element, but I thought, the Ferris wheel, it's just such a great, classic ride for an amusement park, and it just fits so well as a centerpiece. So I thought it fit the best, and before the loop I decided to put this little airtime hill, this little ejector airtime hill for a wing coaster, so that way you can get a little bit of airtime on a B&M, which would be kind of neat, and this could be kind of like a little bit of a forceful ride. So then my goal was to try and turn it back around and get it back going towards the station, because at this point I figured I'd be losing quite a bit of speed. But this is the issue you run into if you're not testing the ride as you're going. So I have this bad habit of not testing it while I build the coaster, so that's something that you kind of want to avoid, but I actually did not test it while I was going until after I got so far, and it ended up being kind of a little bit of a disaster, and it didn't work out so well. And you see all this wasted stuff. I mean, again, I thought the layout looked really good. It had a great look to it, the way all the track was going, and it looked really good. But then I tested it, and it was just a disaster pretty much. It just went too fast through all these elements, and I had a lot more speed than I thought I did, and that was kind of a bad thing. So it didn't end up turning out very pretty, so it ended up going into the garbage, except I kept the winged over drop. That was about the only part I kept. So I have to go back and rebuild and rethink kind of the design of this, and hopefully it will turn out the way that I'm hoping. So, because we have a lot of different coasters we need to get around to, we have a lot of different rides we need to build, and I have an idea of what I'm going to do on the next episode, which hopefully will complement the coaster and everything like that. I'm going to try and build like another building, and then try and build a ride, get around to a ride, and just keep on building stuff like that. So this is the point where I said it was had too much speed to it, so I decided to make the loop a little bit bigger, but still flowed through the rest of the areas too fast anyways, so it really didn't matter. And again, I just can't apologize enough for how much this kind of turned out. and it was gonna turn out really good. I had good intentions of this episode, and then of course I get to the point where I just delete everything and keep the drop. So that's where we're at right now, and then I'm like, well, since I can't figure that out at the moment, let me go ahead and try and figure something out, and that's the entrance to the Ferris wheel. So I make this nice little cozy little queue line, you know, that's just gonna have a roof over the top of it, and it's gonna look pretty nice. So anyways, I thank you guys so much for just sticking around and dealing with this, because it's been kind of a nightmare the last couple episodes. But I really think we're going to get back on track by the next episode and get more done. I might even make a longer episode just to kind of catch up, because I feel like I haven't been getting a lot of progress done with the park lately, just because of the issues I've been running into with the first coaster, which hopefully is not going to be repeating factor. So it's just something I need to learn, and you know, I'm learning as I go along to making all these parks and everything. So I'm not used to making parks like this. I'm used to making different kind of styled parks, so this is kind of still a new experience for me, and I thank you guys so much for just sticking in there with me and keeping it up. So we just make this little covered queue line area, and it's a nice little queue line. Again, not a lot of no theming whatsoever. It's just a Ferris wheel, of course. So anyways, that's about it. So that's about all we really get done in this episode, is we finish up this little queue line section area, and we're gonna go back later on and fix everything else with filling in some more building gaps and different things like that. But anyways, I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you comment, like, and subscribe for awesome content like this, and we're gonna get back on track by the next episode, and that's hopefully where we're sitting at the moment. So again, we'll get back on track, and I've said that a lot of times, but it never ended up happening. But I have a good feeling about this time. So anyways, I will catch you guys in the next video, and we will be getting back, building some buildings, and hopefully building another ride or so with that as well. And of course, I forgot I did a little bit of queue line for the wing coaster itself. But anyways, thank you guys. Make sure you have a great day and an even cooler tomorrow, and I'll catch you guys in the next live stream or video. Thanks you so much, and goodbye.